So we finally got that third matchup between Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor, and my god is there a lot to unpack here. To say that that was a wild conclusion would be putting it lightly, and I do think that there are angles to be taken on this fight that can stretch from the competitive and the technical to the psychological and then the moral side of it. And while a video on Dustin Poirier specifically and his future will follow this one later on in the week, I did want to talk about the fight as a whole in this piece, and mainly kind of zone in on Conor McGregor. I found that main event on Saturday and all of its build up to be one hell of a lot of fun, and though the bout's conclusion came under unfortunate circumstances, I have definitely seen enough of this rivalry for now. And sure, I would welcome a fourth bout if the stars aligned down the road, but in reality, Dustin needs to fight Charles Oliveira for the belt. We need to see this matchup because right now, I can make the case for either man as the best lightweight in the world. But as far as the UFC 264 main event headliner went, well, I do think we're fairly unanimous in what we saw over the course of the 5 minutes of action. Conor came out, he threw more kicks, generally looking a lot closer to his bouncy, karate-tinged old self. He worked the legs of Dustin and seemed intent on making a statement about their UFC 257 matchup in those opening exchanges. But while Conor had some strong moments in the opening minute of the fight through his aggression and variety, Poirier also came into that first round with a little more intensity than he did in their second clash. He too was throwing hard shots from the get-go, and as soon as McGregor's early onslaught got him countered, Dustin turned it up, peppering his adversary with some real intent and some surprising volume. Conor moved into clinch, Dustin moved into the cage, Conor jumped a guillotine, and then there was some ground and pound and you all know the rest. From my perspective, Poirier just looked to be the better fighter of the two. Even on the feet early, I think that confidence he had from the second fight in knowing that he could take Conor's best shots led him to push that pace a little earlier this time around, forcing McGregor to engage him in the clinch. I'm not really going to go into the fight in greater detail right now, given that it ended in a way that saw it robbed of its natural rhythm and resolution. Do I believe that Poirier would have won had McGregor's leg not given out? Yes, probably. He just looked to be the sharper, more dangerous fighter, even if Conor also looked pretty good in there. From what we did get, I liked what I saw from Conor for the most part. Indeed, that guillotine attempt was never going to work, and if it did, Conor would unfortunately be forced not to count it due to it not being a knockout. But I suppose even a comment like that served to highlight the disconnect between trash talk, or the overall demeanour one shows to the camera, and the actual reality of how they feel. So I know in the lead up to this fight, I expressed to all of you regular viewers that this event and its build up felt like a vintage McGregor matchup to me. The stakes felt real and the tension was extremely evident. And I think through the course of fight week, as I watched Conor's promising media interviews with the likes of Ariel Helwani, Stephen A. Smith and Megan O'Leary, before then experiencing the admittedly ugly press conference, noticing the differences between McGregor's calm and lighthearted demeanour in those one-on-ones, and then the explosive, venomous output when he came face to face with Dustin, it did prove to be a very interesting week for my fandom. If you're enjoying this content, be sure to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all of our latest uploads, before leaving a comment to let YouTube's algorithms know that we're fast becoming one of the best MMA channels on the platform. Watching Conor over these last 5 years in particular has taught me a lot about my relationship with celebrities, teaching me about what exactly it is that I'm getting out of my fandom. At one point in time, I would have held the objects of my fandom accountable in a way that I would have friends and family, judging their actions by their morals and the alignment of those morals, and taking on a feeling of betrayal when a person I'd never even met, quote unquote, let me down. And as I sat there at about 6 in the morning watching as the injured Conor McGregor continued to roar obscenities at Dustin Poirier as the diamond wheeled off in celebration, making sure to rub it in a bit more at every chance, doing McGregor's own Billy strut back at him, honestly my first thought was, damn, this is some great entertainment. Because I think growing up alongside Conor McGregor, as I mentioned in my other video, has given me a lot of insight into what passionate support can do to people, and what it had done to me at certain points in my own past. Because win, lose or draw, I think the real lesson I'm learning here is that my undying support for Conor, as both an icon within the sport I love and as another Irishman, that support I give him is payment for all of the good times he's given me. All of those great nights, the laughs, the shocks, the goods, the bads. I honestly don't care what Conor does or says, how many fighters' wives he insults, how many lines he crosses, because I don't look to celebrities for moral cues. I don't see McGregor as a kindred spirit or somebody I'd invite over on a Sunday for lunch. He represents something far more distant. An Irish icon, a reason to bring people together for a few beers, a hugely entertaining fighter to watch, even in his lowest moments. Someone to disagree with others on, someone to make a joke about. The man is not my friend, nor will he ever be. And I don't need to judge him by the same moral standards that I hold the people close to me to. So I can only really be so upset that he lost. I suppose I felt pretty at peace with what had happened, as weird as that might be. And again, as I'll get into in another video, I was very happy for Dustin Poirier. And furthermore, I didn't begrudge him his opportunity to rub it in, as far as taunting Conor was concerned. It's all good TV, that's for sure. But I also know that I'm watching a sport here, and everything that happens outside of the actual competition itself is to be taken on the merits of it as entertainment. Forgive my very rough maths here, but Conor might spend 0.001% of his life with a camera in front of his face, and he can say or do whatever he wants in front of that lens because in reality, there is a disconnect between him and his millions of fans that I think he understands better than anyone. It's all numbers at the end of the day. And when the time came for him to actually do something of substance, in this case the fight, it didn't go his way, and as he sat there, sounding off with all of the venom of an octagon-bound Ebenezer Scrooge, as the UFC predictably made the ridiculous decision to interview him, the man being full up on adrenaline and shock, having just broken his leg like that, Conor McGregor will be forced to deal with the consequences of what came out of his mouth in that moment. For me though, again, I just found it all incredibly entertaining, and I'm under no illusions about the fact that I'll be as pumped as ever when he does eventually return and fight. I'm a fan of the man win, lose or draw. In disgrace or in his highest moments. It's all just way too much fun to pass up on. So to put it simply, I had an absolute blast during this fight week. God damn it, I love this sport. But what did you think of the insane end to the UFC 264 main event? And what do you think of Conor McGregor's future in this sport? Do let us know your opinions in the comment section below. We always love to hear from you guys. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and a comment before subscribing to the channel so you can stay up to date with all of our latest uploads. Thank you for watching.